fancy intro music. Yeah! Woohoo!
Hey Star Trek Fleet Command fans, today we're going to do a video where we never leave this screen. Why? Because the Section 31 store has been updated, revamped, lots of things added to it, whether we're talking about favors or items in the store itself. So I want to go over what has value. Most players in the game are, well, they're one of two things. One, they're absolutely the most handsome. Yeah, I'm talking about you, big boy. And you're probably in the 40s or 50s. Most of the game's player base is in G4, but that doesn't mean we don't have players who in the future will look to this going into the Section 31, because obviously it starts in the 30s, looking to what they need to get into long term. And if you're a higher level player, we're going to go line by line, every item, whether it's valuable in today's game and whether you should go after it. So if you are here, be so kind, go ahead and hit that like button so we can get more of this information. So at the very top, we have our Armada ciphers. I keep doing that. Wave ciphers. Rev. Gosh, you're such a ginger. All right. We have these ciphers to do our various waves, both group and solo. So obviously those have value, and yes, you want to go after it. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with this particular one here in the center, this is for your group Armada start, which actually is going to give me a quick little, yes, that's important. Is the Armada quick start for group solos important? 100%. If anything, it's the most valuable thing in the entire faction right here. That's debatable. Clearly, people can throw up debate. But I think if you're looking for a goal, whether you're level 35 or 55, if you do not have it, Armada Quick Start is a must grab. This is the currency that allows you to do that. Then we have the reputation. So obviously the solo one is only going to be for players 45 and above. But yes, obviously you want to max out your rep. Even though I have not yet, getting to Spy Master does unlock a few different items. Now, a good note is a lot of these things no longer have some of those locks. You can see a lot of things that have been provided with solo, and you can see that in the solo right here with the little text. You can get that before being Spy Master, but long term, yes, you're obviously going to want the reps. Then you have these trade down mechanics, which some people might like, some people might not, but it's the ability to trade specifically solo down into the other currencies, but we can also do that with the mirror waves as well, which you can see this one right here. This allows you to trade down to the original Section 31 currency, the Section 31 credit. So for those who are keeping up, look, we have 3 current currencies in the Section 31 store. We have the Section 31 access key, which is via the solo armadas. And again, everybody take a shot every time Rev misappropriates, missays, and everything else. All right, the solo waves, you get this new currency. You also have the one that came out with the mirror waves, which is the Section 31 mirror credits. And then finally, you have the Section 31 credits. So let's start talking about these specialty currencies you can get. This also allows you to get Sloan. Now, you can get Sloan in a multitude of ways, including through Vindicator sourcing. Obviously, on this account, you can see I already have Sloan, but once you've procured Sloan, you can get SP for him. Yes, that is valuable. And I would also add in that in addition to the Armada Quick Start, unlocking Sloan, the fleet commander, is very valuable to all players. Certainly worth going after. Now we get into where we're kind of like in muddied water with some of these. The Emblems of Assessment, if you are doing your Q trial daily every day, you probably don't need this, but if you need to play catch up, certainly valuable. Same thing with the Quantum Communicators. You're probably fine, but if you do need to play catch up, this allows you to source the currency at not a ridiculous price, but keep in mind, it is in the new solo price. So, it's all about how much you can actually do. Keep in mind, again, that they've limited how much you can do these solo waves, where you're only able to hold 400 of this private cipher. So not meant to be something you do every day, because there is obviously a cooldown that lasts multiple days to get more of them. For 3 days, you're pulling those out. So let's talk about the Armada Tactical Cores. I actually would have said this is valuable if these were rare Armada Tactical Cores. These are not. They're standard. This is a waste of your time and your resources. Don't bother with it if you've unlocked solos. Let's keep moving down the list. For solos, yes, you can see, I find this valuable. The rare Xindi Armada Directives. Why? Now, I've already lied to you once. I might as well go ahead and lie to you again. I said that we weren't going to get off of this page. We're actually about to get off this page. But I've also told you in the past that Xindi Armadas aren't that good. But the caveat was always because you can't really run them. Well, now, because this price is actually quite cheap, you can do that now. Like, you can go get a full Xindi Armada run and then run this for the box. Again, when I've always said Xindi wasn't valuable, it wasn't that the boxes weren't valuable. It was you just simply could not get enough to run these, especially the rare. However, there's a lot of good in here. And now for a low cost, you can actually go into your Section 31 faction store and pull rare Xindi Directives. Now, I'm not saying you need to do this every time you have currency for your solo armadas. However, it's 5,000 for a little over 3,000 of the solo currency. That's not bad at all. Definitely think that is valuable to pick up, maybe even just once a month, to help you give more mats, more resources, more things in Star Trek Fleet Command. Let's go ahead and move on down. I don't want to get stuck too much. Multiphasic chamber, do I feel like it's valuable? I mean, it's warp distance and warp speed, so I mean, it's solid, not something to focus on. But you do see me focusing on Unimatrix shielding, which I think is one of the better items in the game. One of the good things about these solo editions is that they're providing a lot of CTs, artifacts, etc. that you weren't able to get previously. This one is a PvP one, so I'm a little bit biased towards it. Again, a lot of these are solos, so you're probably going to need to skip a couple minutes if you want to get to some of the other stuff, but lots of solos. You have another one here that, again, is going to be PvP based if it's valuable to you. Personally, not going after it, but yeah, if you're into PvP, go for it. Now, this one, not valuable to me just based on what it does. Then I have these two that I find incredibly valuable. Again, speaking to players 45 and above, this is helping you plan for the future. Friendship 1 Probe, G5 ship mat efficiency. That's obviously valuable. For me, this one, very valuable. Amelia Earhart's plane. This is G6 material cost. So these two alone, especially if you're a player in the 30s or 40s, you're planning ahead, these two are some of those valuable things you can pick up in the Section 31 store. Very, very good. Interax's data pad is solid, but again, Apex Barrier clearly is already on the way out, whereas efficiencies are always in, so focus on those. Lurpa is going to increase your temporal wreckage loot, and how much is that value for you? It's an artifact, maybe in the middle, certainly not high end. Scotty's Trident you can actually get in other ways, so probably wouldn't focus on it much here in the store. Then you have the temporal device, which is increasing ISO damage per round, or sorry, ISO defense per round. Handy, but not priority. Still good to get. And then finally, the DTI plaque is going to give you better damage against armadas and invading entities. It's nice, but again, not necessarily the biggest thing. You have the rep gains here. I feel like these have gotten bypassed in terms of the Terran Empire is the better way to go about adding to your reps. I wouldn't spend your credits on that unless you've simply lost things to spend the mirror director or the mirror credits on. So I would move on for it. You do have more ways to get Syndicate, which is nice. And obviously at Spy Master, you have this Agony booth, which will help you in your FKR reputation grind, which a lot of players are working on. I don't honestly feel like the field repairs are very valuable. If you disagree with me, I actually want you to comment down in the comment section below. I don't really think that these provide much to the game. The other side of that is the fact, well, they're only really available here for the uncommons because they want you to purchase the rares and the epics. So really tough to kind of like buy into those because of what they are. But if you disagree, again, I'm always open for opposing and opposing, etc. opinions. So drop it down below. We'll go ahead and jump on down. Now, here's where we do find value. Again, obviously you need the Section 31 transmitters to upgrade your building. Definitely love free Dolomite. I'm 100% fan of that. And again, back to the same thing I said before. Only worth doing the rep if you've already gotten everything you need and you have nothing else to spend your Section 31 credits on. There. Now, I do love the Defiant refit, and there is also a Talios refit. They are purely cosmetic. They will not improve your game, but they look amazing. Do with that information as you will. You don't have a slew of PvP officers between the solos and between the regular currencies. Do I find these valuable? The answer is short and simple. Yes, I do. Comes down to how valuable is PvP to you. I would say if you're a high PvP player, you love incursions, arenas, these are very, very important to go after. I specifically am focusing on things like Miss Q, right? I want this for her below deck ability. I love that Apex Barrier with morale, putting that on those. Look at the currencies it costs. It's not super expensive. You can get this in completing one G5 wave pretty easily, or your G6 wave. So absolutely a fan of this, but if you're not a PvPer, these are all bypassed, meaning you can focus on favors. This is where we're going to wrap up here for the Section 31. So I'm going to do a little bit of PvP recap in a second, but let me finish this. In terms of the new solos, these shreds are valuable. You will notice an immediate difference if you're finding yourself struggling on, say, wave 4, wave 5 of these solo waves. These shreds will help you. Yes, I still hate the idea of Apex Shred, but in terms of will it make the game better? Absolutely. Definitely pick those up if you're wanting to improve your shred and just have a better shot in waves. Remember, all wave favors work in all waves, so this will help around the board. Then, as you can see, I've not really done a lot of the original of these favors. I don't feel like they really impact the game that much. However, If you're wanting to improve in waves, I would focus on the ISO ones. I would focus on whole health, but more importantly, that Armada quick start, I think, is the biggest value here. Real quick, last moment, I do want to kind of cover the PvP officers for those who do PvP. I personally would recommend you focus on the below deck abilities, because here's the basic logic of what I'm saying. And again, if you disagree, please comment down below as to why. I think because if you're watching my videos, you tend to be a non-heavy spender, maybe a light spender. Here's the trick. Here's the trick of the tip of the trade, everything. The PvP meta is going to change again. I know it's a shock. No way. It is going to change again. With that in mind, don't worry about trying to level these up, max them, and get the latest metas of like 7 Tuvok each up. Instead, focus on what they can do below decks. The way you can have them more usable long term, and you're spending less major currency. For example, for me to get 54 more shards of 7 would cost me a lot more than simply unlocking and tearing up Icheb, Tuvok, Q, Romy, Mariachi, and Marshall. All those are going to have more below deck value. And then you have your standard Section 31 credits for these if you've not gotten your strike teams going. And I do still use my strike teams quite regularly. Like, for example, Pon, who I've not maxed out, but maybe something to give a thought to. So there is the Section 31 store. Every item, whether it has value or not in today's game. Hopefully this helps you out. If not, well, just ask me questions. I'm more than happy to help out. Live long and plunder. Stay safe with the Space Cowboys. Deuce, and that's me. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. And hope you're having a good one.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.